Okay, hi guys, and welcome to this Social Anxiety Transformation mini course. In this module, I wanted to first of all address a couple of questions which you might have, which are, who the hell is this guy and why the hell should I listen to him? So first of all, my name is Ed Barton. I'm a former long-time sufferer of chronic social anxiety, and I now blog about my experiences, make video courses like this, and coach other people, all in the hope that I can share my experience and help other people overcome social anxiety as I have. So, as I said, I'm a former long-time sufferer. I had elements of shyness and inhibition and self-consciousness going right back as far as I can remember. And if you're watching this, maybe you can relate to some of the experiences I've had. As a kid, I would get shy and embarrassed in situations, and then by the age of 10 I was starting to develop very intense blushing and sweating when I had to perform socially. If I had to go up and ask for something in a shop, this would be especially nerve-wracking, and it got progressively worse. I used to dread reading out in class or doing anything where I was going to be looked at. By the age of 16, I then started to medicate by smoking weed and drinking. And it got worse and worse, progressively worse. And I didn't even know what this was. And actually, at my lowest point in my mid-20s, I had to go and see a psychiatrist. And he would do things with me like walk down the street, because I didn't feel I could walk down the street. I felt clunky. It didn't feel natural. I felt so on show. I couldn't go into a supermarket. I was basically housebound at that point, so I was paying him money and we would just go and walk to a supermarket and stand in a supermarket. And as crazy as that sounds, they were actually very, very formative experiences and breakthrough sessions that I had with him. But that is how bad it got at one point. I couldn't even walk down the street, and I couldn't have people look at me at all, and was basically just staying in my house all the time. And throughout my 20s, I was then drinking alcohol to go out and to socialize if I ever did. A lot of the time I spent at home, I was caught in a cycle of thoughts of, why am I so lonely? Don't people like me? I then failing when I went out. I went through a daily cycle of humiliation and setback. I started to question whether I was crazy. I had constant panic attacks around something as seemingly simple as getting up and going to the bathroom. I remember one day I was doing my master's degree and I was 30. I got up to leave the lecture theatre after a lot of deliberation. I was going to try and hold on. But I had to leave the lecture theatre and walk to the toilet, otherwise I was going to piss my pants. And I came back in, and just walking back to my seat, and even that basically gave me a panic attack. And these constant panic attacks and anxiety attacks, they were just taking such a toll on my body. I started to question how much longer I could go on in this way. And I didn't take steps towards suicide, but I was having some suicidal ideation and just questioning how can I live a life like this. And there was all these kind of horrible thoughts tied up, the depression of living like that, feeling that you're a freak, not even knowing that this was social anxiety. And if you're watching this, maybe some of that resonates with you. And the way I always describe it is, it felt like I was in a prison. I was living in a prison, but it was a prison, as I later learned, of my own making. And it was basically an artificial prison with plastic bars, which once I pushed on them, they fell apart. But until you push on them, the prison feels incredibly real, and you just live governed by fear, by the opinions of others, and just all these horrible racing thoughts in your head, and the sweating and the embarrassment and the constant shame and humiliation and all of that. So that's the path that I've been on. And then I got to the age of 32, and I just felt that enough was enough, and I had to confront this. I had to get this sorted, and I'll be sharing some of that journey with you in other modules. So that's basically me now. I'm doing this work to try and help others overcome social anxiety. I'm training to be a psychotherapist. I've trained as a life coach and I've trained as a fitness instructor. And I bring all of these aspects to my work in trying to help people with social anxiety.